Happy Friday mga katribu and welcome to another episode of Kalingang KaTribu Legal Diaries. I am Venice Bautista and today we are joined by Aranas Cruz, Araneta Parker, and Faustino Law Offices Associate Lawyer Attorney Alfred Campañano. Good afternoon, Attorney!
Ayan. Good afternoon, good afternoon.
Hello po. Ayan, so dahil Earth Day today, our topic for today's episode will be the House Bill number 9147 or the Single-Use Plastic Products Regulation Act. So this topic isn't only timely because it's Earth Day today, but because we are also facing a climate change crisis. Diba? Glaciers are melting. By 2050, sabi ng mga scientists, there will be more plastics than the fishes in the ocean. And then the global temperatures are rising, so that means this will affect our food and our water security rin. So we're lucky today because we will be joined by Attorney Alfred and talaga malalaman natin kung gaano ba kahalaga itong act na to para sa kinabukasan natin. Okay, so Attorney, are you ready?
Let's see.
Okay.
I'm not exactly an environmental lawyer, no? But
Yes, still a lawyer nonetheless.
Ano?
Okay po. So first, what are single-use plastics? Like parang may clear definition tayo on this.
If I recall correctly, pag sabi mong single-use plastics, basically yun na siya eh. No, that's the definition itself. So these are yung the material is made of plastic and it's used only once. And then so basically you're talking about yung mga consumables. So a good example would be yung mga plastic spoons and forks, plastic plates, and then yung mga water bottle. Diba kasi they're single use. After their use, ideally, for convenience, dinidispose mo na lang sila.
Yeah.
So, yun. So, these are plastic products designed to be disposed, destroyed, or recycled only after one use.
I see. Okay. So, what prompted naman po the creation of this bill, of this law? Is it a law?
Right now, there's no law yet, no? Because when I was going over yung readings, apparently this is still a House Bill, House Bill 9147. Tapos as disclosed in the website ng Congress, there are studies that shows na that apparently the Philippines is one of those top contributors of plastic wastes on marine pollution. So this is according to Allen Velasco. And apparently, there's also a research done by a foreign study, Lawrence Mayer, Team Van Emerick, wherein apparently the Philippines is the largest, number one, contributing country of marine plastic pollution in rivers.
Oh no.
So apparently in the Philippines, out of our 4,820 of our rivers already emits 356,371 metric tons of plastic per year.
Grabe.
So, ayan. Tapos meron din tayong hinahawakan na record apparently. Pasig River is the single, yan ang wording sa studies nila Mayer and Emerick, no? Pasig River apparently is the single greatest polluting river in the world.
Oh my gosh, record breaker. Doon pa talaga.
Then, ayan, I think this is the reason why the single-use plastics as initiated by our legislators is being fought for. Ayan, nakikita nyo on screen, no? Yung seahorse and the face mask. The pandemic did not actually help at all in our fight against the use of plastics and consumables. Ayan, nakikita nyo sa screen.
Oo, if not, di ba, talagang it worsened with all the... Siyempre, daming for deliveries nung pandemic, lalo na nung height of the pandemic where we cannot go out. So, siyempre, we're gonna rely on the food packages.
Yung convenience of it all din eh.
Oo.
And then, obviously, yung face masks, no? Even until now. It's required. So it's highly advisable na may mga face mask naman that are actually reusable. So if
Yes.
kaya naman, baka pwedeng maging alternate yan instead of using yung mga single-use mask.
Exactly.
Diba? May mga masks actually that are that are that you can use more than once. Syempre, wag yung hinuhugasan lang, no? May mga ganun na yung at
Yeah.
least napoprolong mo pa bago mo siya again i-dispose.
Yeah.
So I suppose in these little ways. Buti na lang inalis na yung plastic, yung face shields.
Correct.
No?
Nako, grabe din yun. Lalo na yung mga binibenta lang sa mga palengke or sa mga stations, yung LRT ganyan, 'di ba? So, ang bilis nila ma-break. Tapos itatapon lang.
Yun nga and the sad thing here is studies show na hindi naman walang efficacy at all.
Yun na nga yung
Ang paglagay
saddest
ng
part
plastic
doon.
face shield sa harapan mo. Especially yung face shield na nakalagay naman dito and then meron namang access sa sides at sa
Opening,
top.
yeah.
So,
Wala
lang, dagdag lang tayo sa pollution. No wonder we're top 1.
Correct. So, attorney, clarify ko lang kasi I'm not wala akong sa legal stuff. So, I wanna clarify, like, so, bill pa lang ito. So, paano siya magiging law? Tsaka, may sense of urgency ba somehow sa ating mga lawmakers when it comes to this bill?
Well, I can only answer number 1, no?
Okay.
Yung how it becomes a law.
Okay.
Because that is provided under our Philippine Constitution. Normally, under our fundamental law, you can actually pass a law. The standard is you elect your senators or you elect your House of Representative members wherein they will initiate yung paggagawa sila ng draft bills. So it's either a Senate bill coming from your, quote-unquote, upper house, and then manggagaling din siya sa lower house or your House of Representatives, na kung saan nagkakaroon muna yan ng committee, and they will try to polish the provisions of the law. So kaya tayo nagkakaroon ng House bill. In this case, for the single-use plastics law, then that would be House Bill 9147. But if I'm not mistaken, it's not only Alan Velasco who is forwarding this single-use plastics law. Actually, may mga ibang legislators pa. Kaya nangyayari, kino-consolidate yan.
I see. Okay.
So, ang mangyayari, then it will undergo yung sinasabi na 3 readings rule. First is magkakaroon muna ng first reading, which is basically yung yung paggawa mo ng law itself. The second reading is basically the debates. So, supposedly magkakaroon ng debate yan sa House of Representatives na saying na what law, what provision is, how should the proposed bill be worded, or may mga provisions pa na dapat alisin, provisions na dapat idagdag. And then kapag okay na, the third reading is basically yung pag-vote na.
Okay.
So pagbobotohan na nila yan. And then after na mangyari, if approved, for example, in the House of Representatives, iaakyat yan. Iaakyat yan sa Senate, House of Senate. Na kung saan sila naman ang magkakaroon ulit ng either they will just simply adopt the version ng House Bill or they will create their own version. Kaya magkakaroon ng counterpart. And then magkakaroon ulit ng 3 readings. Yung readings on the proposals, the reading is on, next is voting. Either affirmatively or negatively to the bill. And then after nun, pag okay na siya, pag pumasa na, magiging enrolled bill na siya. Pag sinabi mong enrolled bill under the Philippine context, is basically the bill has been consolidated and approved, by both the House of Senate and the House of Representatives. And then after nun, pag enrolled bill na yan, i-approve yan ipapa-approve mo yan kay Presidente. Na which in this case, the President has either the option to approve the same. Second is to veto the same. No? Meaning veto all or nothing yan, ha? Meaning hindi siya pwedeng, ayoko si Section 1, ayoko si Section 2, but okay ako kay Section 3. Hindi ganun ang pag-veto ni President. Ang pag-veto ni President dyan is basically the law itself. Will he approve it or will he not approve it? Or, in some instances, the President may not want to say na I approve it directly, but it's possible that he will just simply pass it, let it pass by inaction. So meaning walang imprimatur niya ang approval, but if he does not deny the bill itself, then it becomes a law.
Oh, okay.
So yun yung three options niya. He may approve, the president may approve it. So meaning okay sa kanya yung batas, then ipapaano na yan for implementation, ipapublish mo yan in a newspaper of general circulation for 2 weeks, and then magte-take effect siya after the publication. Then or i-veto niya, meaning no. In that case, pag binito niya, the the Congress has the power to overturn that veto. So magkakaroon ulit sila ng botohan if they will insist it to become a law. And then after nun, then magte-take effect na siya. So ini-override nila yung presidential veto. Or the third one is it can become a law if the president will not expressly or will not directly veto the bill. So in that case, I think 7 days ata, if I recall correctly. Or kung mali, sa mga nanonood din, i-verify nyo na lang sa Constitution. I think nandun naman. Yung how many days na the president did not act on the enrolled bill, and then in that case, it becomes a law.
Okay. Grabe, ang haba pa na proseso. No wonder, ang tagal niya maging law talaga.
Ngayon, sa second question mo, daya kayo ha, 2 question in one. Is there really a political demand for it? Per my observation, I think there is not much of a demand for it. Kaya parang I think nananahimik yung bill na yan. Like divorce. So it's a matter of it really is a matter of, well, I think kasi one of the reasons is magkakaroon naman tayo ng administration change, no?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So in that case, we will see kasi yun naman din ang role on politics here eh. Depending on what administration sits, dun mo makikita what laws or what bills will be prioritized and what policies will be enforced in the upcoming, the succeeding administration. So guys, reminder lang, May 9, vote. And vote wisely.
Vote, yes. Thank you for that reminder, Attorney. And thank you rin for clarifying my question na yun nga, I really have no clue about how these laws go about. And I'm sure you're learning so much, mga katribu. I am. So we'll know more about this bill after the break. Legal Diaries will be back.
Ako po ay kabahagi ng isang alyansa ng mga kandidato ngayong national elections na nananawagan po ng pagkakaisa. Ako po si Sara Duterte. Handa po akong magserbisyo sa ating bayan. Hinihingi ko po ang tulong at suporta ninyo para sa pagka-vice presidente ng ating bansa.
Pinahirapan ng mga sundalong Hapon. Si Harry Roque, pinaglabang kami.
Sa mga walang boses sa lipunan, si Harry Roque ang spokesman ng bayan. Attorney Harry Roque sa Senado, number 54 sa balota.
Ang asawa ko po ay kameraman na kasama sa lakas lang sa Maguindanao Massacre. Si Atty. Harry Roque, hindi po niya kami nakakalimutan.
Sa mga walang boses sa lipunan, si Harry Roque ang spokesman ng bayan. Attorney Harry Roque sa Senado, number 54 sa balota.
Boses natin sa Kongreso, PG Party List. Kasangga mo, balot 108 iboto. PG Party List, basic good. Atin to, magkaisa ng marig ang mga hinaing. Young and active leaders sa Kongreso, ang boses natin. Tandaan at iboto, balota 108. Civilian realize the projects we dreamed of. PG Party List, vote 108 na. PG Party List, kasangga mo, balot 108 iboto. PG Party List, boses natin sa Kongreso. PG Party List, kasangga mo, balot 108 iboto. PG Party List, basic good, atin to. PG Party List, atin to.
You are still watching Legal Diaries. I am still with Attorney Alfred. And before the break, we were talking about how long the process is when it comes to approving laws. And Attorney, I want to clarify lang din, no? With, kunwari na naging law na nga itong Single-Use Plastics Act na to, how long will be the transition period kaya? Yung talagang wala ng single-use plastics.
Let's see. Depending on the version, kasi di ba we've discussed a bit lengthily how it becomes a law. So, when it becomes a law, there are possible revisions that can happen. Pwedeng ano yan. However, House Bill 9147 proposes a transitory provision na kung saan how many years ang tinitignan nila. And according to the bill, they proposed na it's about 4 years ang pag-phase out ng they categorized each single-use plastics and then they actually group it na kung saan how many years ang pag-phase out niyan. So for example, 4 years for plates and saucers, cups, bowls and lids, cutleries, so dyan yung spoons and forks, food and beverage containers such as water bottles, yung mga I think yung sa mga convenience store, yung mga microwavable na disposable din. Yung film wrap, so saran wrap is one of those, and yung mga sachets ng mga normally shampoos or deodorants. So yan yung tinitingnan natin na 4 years ang proposed nila na pag-phase out. 1 year, so meaning mas mabilis ang pag-phase out according to the proposed bill for drinking straws, stirrers, yung stirrers I think that's yung mga in conventions, yung kulay normally red, white, red yung niya,
yung stripes,
the stripes. Yung sticks for candies, lollipops, diba? Alam mo yan. And then cotton buds and balloons. So yan yung mga buntings and confetti and packaging or bags. Yan yung mga plastic bags. Yung nakikita mo yan sa palengke, di ba? Yung mga binibenta sa'yo if you're looking for it. So 4 years and 1 year ang tinitignan nila ang pag-phase out. And then, apparently, there's this concept of multi-layered products of plastic. Kasi syempre, we're not only targeting to remove non-compostable single-use plastics. Kasi madali siya intindihan, di ba? For example, yung cutleries, that's single-use. But may mga products na multi-layered siya, na para a portion of it is recyclable, a portion of it is not single-use, and a portion of it is single-use. So in that case, they're looking at 2 years ang pag-phase out ng mga ganitong klaseng plastic products.
Okay. Longer.
So may body that's actually going to be created to check the replaceability, recyclability, and retrievability of these products. Kasi kinakailangan din naman natin syempre na while gusto nating mag-go all out in fighting or for preserving the environment with respect to the threat of use of plastics, ang inaanutin natin dyan is that there are of course economic repercussions if parang you're gonna quit it cold turkey.
Yes.
So kaya tayo meron tayong stages. And at the same time, we also have to look at yung on an environmental standpoint as well. It's not just about stopping the use of plastic, but it's also how you ensure that those existing plastics can be recycled. Kasi hindi lang siya eh. I think if some of the viewers are aware, recycling is actually a very tricky science yan. Hindi yan yung basta-bastang pag-dispose ka lang ng na ilagay mo sa bin na ito or ano. Kasi in fact, there are some recyclers out there na if you're not going to segregate it properly, then don't segregate it at all. Yan ang ano niyan eh. Kaya nga ideally, yung even sa plastic, for example, a plastic bottle, 'di ba may packing yan sa gilid? 'Di ba? Ang pag-recycle niyan is that the cup, the cover belongs to one bin, the actual bottle belongs to another, and then the wrap, the film yung kung saan nakalagay yung brand, it's also another category. Yun yung ideal niyan in segregating. So there's going to be a body that will determine kung paano ang pag-implement naman ng mga, especially for those multi-layered products, plastic products, kung paano ang recycling, retrieving, and replacing of these products. Kasi syempre, consumers out there, such as myself, I'm not gonna deny that, na have been relying on the convenience brought about by this plastic products.
Yes, totoo naman. Sobrang convenient talaga eh. Like, alam mo yun, syempre it's gonna be bulky if lahat ng like utensils, yung mga insulated bottles, you're gonna bring them all sa bag. So, like, some people also do not have the luxury to have those things. So, they'll just opt for single-use plastics. Kaya, ayun, I just wanted to clarify yung transition period para naman malaman na ating mga ka-Tribu viewers na hindi agad-agad mawawala ng nasa isang iglap yung pagka-relying nila dun sa plastic use. So naman, next attorney, for my question, so kunwari ito na, may law na nga tayo niyan, who will be punished naman under this law? Will it be us consumers or will it be the enterprises who make these products?
What is interesting in this law is ang pinaka-tina-target niya, and I think it's a smart move no in terms of the proponent. With respect to the proponent of this bill. Because ang pinaka-tina-target talaga niyan are the businesses. Because again, we can only do so much na, for example, ako, I can commit not to buy water bottles, right? But the point here is, on an individual level, hindi naman talaga yan magkakaroon ng immediate effect. As much as we can dream na everyone's gonna stop using water bottles, the fact is, since there is the supply on the use of these plastic products are there, people will resort to buying these products.
Yes.
So I think it's smart of the proponent to target the businesses and the manufacturers that will pack their products using the single-use plastics. And in the proposed bill, 250,000 to 1 million ang kanilang initial penalty. And then repeat offenders, ang range niyan is 500 to 750. And then the third time, pwede maging 750 to 1 million plus revocation of your business permit.
I see. So, if na-terminate ito, and then they keep repeating the offense, mas tataas yung
penalty.
Yeah. And then, can they be may parang pagkulong ba dito or talagang puro like fines lang siya?
I think it's mostly fines. So I don't think there's a criminal there's a imprisonment involved in this case. Kasi nga at least I think it doesn't really even if walang imprisonment, I don't think it removes the potency of this law because ultimately 1 million penalty is quite big, especially for businesses.
Yes.
And I think ang pinaka-tina-target din naman talaga nila dyan is ang nakikita natin that has a big contribution, I think, to single-use plastic are small to medium enterprises.
Yes.
So I think the penalty is still quite steep na kung saan if I am that person, if I am that entrepreneur, then I wouldn't really risk being penalized that way.
So, pero can businesses be terminated because of this?
Yes. Yun na, as mentioned, that there's a revocation of the business permit. And that's a regulatory requirement for any businesses before they can legitimately operate in any locality.
There we go. Okay. So, like mentioned kanina, plastics, like being reliant on it, ang hirap na bigla mawawala to. And it's easier said than done na ibaban yung plastics nga. So, pero because of RA number 9003, diba? Since it states that before we ban any item, we need to come up with an alternative and it should not exceed like 10% of the cost of the banned item. Can you tell us like more about this RA number 9003?
I think RA 9003, from my recollection, pertains kasi doon sa before any replacement on or before affecting this ban on single-use plastic, there has to be an alternative already. Yun yung sinasabi ko kanina na parang when you ban something, there has to be an alternative for those people who will be affected by the ban. So in this case, yun nga, yung ano ba yung mga alternatives that you have to require businesses to still operate at a profitable level. So in that sense, ang 9003 is supposedly requiring the government to provide at least a guideline or an alternative should they ban single-use plastic. But I think if this indeed becomes a law, there's going to, doon lang natin makita yung pag-thresh out ng effect ng single-use plastics law. But to me, as of the moment, nakikita ko dyan na there really isn't going to be a much of a concern because the proposed bill has a standard repealing clause na kung saan anything that is inconsistent with that law is deemed repealed. So if there is an inconsistency that cannot be harmonized with 9003, then the single-use plastic law will prevail.
Oh. Okay, that's reassuring.
So at least hindi naman siya yung parang sasabihin nila under 9003 we are afforded this alternative. So where is that alternative? So I don't think it will stop the implementation of the single-use plastics law if it's passed, no? Because I think there's a legitimate exercise of police power because of the need to curb the use of single-use plastics.
Yes, okay. So now, attorney, once the phase-out plan naman is completed na and the ban on single-use plastics has been implemented, if I want to tell a company, kunwari na, ay, ito gumagamit pa rin ng plastic, which government agency should I go to, like, who has jurisdiction over this law?
Well, that would depend, no? Kung administrative yan, then I think the law will create a special body for it under, of course, the DENR. But you can also initiate certain suits. So meaning kung mag-judiciary ka or basically a court case, a citizen suit can likewise be initiated against that company. Kasi remember, every individual has a standing with respect to protecting the environment. So that may immediate recourse din kayo sa judiciary should you find people violating the same. You can also report it most likely with the DTI kasi syempre remember tatamaan din sa business operations as well. So pwede ka din magreklamo sa kanila. But I think since this is more of an environmental issue, then you'll go to the DENR.
I see. Okay. Thank you so much, attorney, for clarifying lahat ng questions namin and talagang highlighting why this is important. Kasi nga, diba, it's important for us to be educated about this because all of us still heavily depend on plastics and we need all the laws and the encouragement for us to stop. And tayo rin ang mag-suffer and our future children, generations. Ayan. So, don't go anywhere mga katribu and also attorney. We will be discussing a trivia before we end the show. So, stay with us.
Be updated sa news and happenings katribu. Hatid ng Daily Tribune sa inyo ang mga balitang napapanahon sa loob at labas ng bansa. Kami na ang bahala sa paghahatid sa inyo ng mga latest and reliable news. We got you covered sa programang Tribune News on Q. Mapapanood mula umaga hanggang gabi, Lunes hanggang Biyernes sa Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now on YouTube.
Si Harry Roque pinaglaban ang karapatang Pilipinong mangisda sa sariling karagatan. Malaking tulong po na ibigay niya po sa akin.
Sa mga walang boses sa lipunan, si Harry Roque ang spokesman ng bayan. Attorney Harry Roque sa Senado, number 54 sa balota.
Kaming minahirapan ng mga sundalong Hapon. Si Harry Roque, pinaglabang kami.
Sa mga walang boses sa lipunan, si Harry Roque ang spokesman ng bayan. Attorney Harry Roque sa Senado, number 54 sa balota.
Welcome back mga katribu. We are still with Attorney Alfred here at Legal Diaries. And like I said before the break, we will now discuss a trivia for this segment. Okay, so Attorney, let me know if you have anything to say, to comment about this one.
Saan?
Ito na. Okay, so Tribune, a staggering 2.7 million tons of plastic waste are generated in the Philippines each year, and an estimated 20% ends up in the ocean. Comprised of more than 7,500 islands, the livelihoods of the Philippines' coastal communities and the fishing, shipping, and tourism industries are especially vulnerable to the impacts of marine debris. 2.7 million tons.
Let's see. What else can I know there?
Siguro,
First of
Attorney,
all,
just
tama naman yung
reminder.
fact. No? Sila talaga ang isa sa mga, those industries will be the ones that are most vulnerable. Kasi nga, syempre, this is an issue on marine pollution. So, makikita mo yung issue, yung impact niyan sa tourism industries. Kasi, alam mo naman na yung hotels mo, for example, by the bay, nakikita mo doon, instead of surfers, nakikita mo doon lumulutang na bote ng Gatorade.
Yes.
or bote ng Coke or any other soft drinks or energy drink. So makikita mo rin dyan sa shipping, sa fishing. Kasi syempre, of course, pag naano ka dyan, you cast a wide net, makikita mo, instead of getting fish,
Yeah,
you're
plastic.
getting basura. And obviously, makikita mo yan from the pictures itself. The ecosystem of this marine life is very much affected negatively by the marine pollution. So again, it goes back to demanding a large scale or a structural reform in order to address this concern. Kasi some advocates would say that it all boils down to demand.
Yes.
While I understand the logic, kasi syempre if there is demand for these products, then obviously supply people or businesses would try to meet this demand. But kung titingnan natin kasi dyan is we can somehow address it not on a demand level, kasi pag demand yan, you're looking at consumers. You're looking at an individual level. And to me anyway, mahirap i-control ang demand. And mahirap i-control rather pala ang preferences of individuals. Kasi may mga gusto, for example, when they buy a cup of coffee, ayaw nila ng yung paper straw kasi it melts.
Yeah.
So mas gusto na maghahanap talaga yan ng plastic straw because apparently it's better to drink from it that way. So, I think, hindi mo mas madaling i-control ang supply by limiting or by prohibiting the creation of that product itself. So, it really calls for a structural reform and not a demand, and not a reform on an individual level. Kasi we can try to avoid, by analogy, we can try to avoid eating meat, but if you really, by analogy,
Attorney? Hello, Attorney? Attorney. Okay, so I think we lost the connection with Attorney Alfred, but yun nga sinasabi niya kanina, talagang mas easier if we do limit or prohibit the supply rather than the demand kasi nga ang hirap ng... Attorney, are you here? Wala, okay. So, ayun guys, thank you so much for joining us today and thank you, Attorney.
Ayan, hello.
Ayan, Attorney, okay, you're back.
Wala pang connection. So, ayun, ano ba narinig?
Yun, you were saying na it's easier na to limit the
Yeah,
supply.
Basically, you limit the supply because you control demand by cutting the supply because that to the point that it does not become an option at all. Yun lang yung pinaka maganda dyan. So I think it's structural, meaning talaga ang tamaan mo yung businesses that allows the product that more or less produce the single-use plastics to curb the problem on single-use plastics.
Fair. Ayun. So like you said kanina, we need to vote wisely talaga sa susunod na, sa ito, upcoming
see, no?
elections. Because
We will see. Hopefully nga talaga.
We need to really
the agenda.
call on our government officials to pabilisin pa itong pagiging law nitong bill na to. So thank you so much, Attorney, for joining us today once again. Dami naman natutunan.
All right, then to digress a lot, but thank you
Yes.
for your
Thank you so much, Attorney Alfred. And also thank you to our KaTribu viewers for joining another informative and education na talagang kailangan natin i-call yung government for this law to be passed. Kasi nga, it's our it's our future that's on the problem here na talaga eh. So I hope na we have shined a light on this issue and you can watch us live on Daily Tribune's official Facebook page always at Fridays every 3:30 p.m. on Tribune Now on YouTube, and I am Venice Bautista. Magandang hapon. Stay safe. Happy weekend.